said it was gonna be about 10 knots of wind. I think we're like 3 or 4 hours into the journey. Whoa! We're rocking along with 6 to 7 knots with the reef in the main and the reef general. And the 1.2 meter waves are predicted, they're not really happening either. Instead, I think now we're up to at least 1.5, sometimes 2. But the frequency is so high, they're like coming every, I don't know, every 5 seconds or even less than that. It's really crazy. So, Tom is in possession of the tiller to keep him from rethinking his breakfast. And I'm trying to do the same without the tiller. Karl is doing very well, like usual. He seems to really love his... Woo! He seems to really love his new rig. We arrived in Utila. Well, actually we arrived last night at 12 o'clock at night because Karl was just racing. I think until 12 miles before Utila we did like an average of 6.5. We were going 7 knots most of the time, I think. So he was going super fast, and yeah, the wind prediction had been around 5 and we had a good 15 to 25 most of the time. And so we got there at 12 o'clock at night, and then the wind died down and it started raining really heavily, so we had to heave to for like 6 hours in the rain with the swell still from the wind. And it was a bit tiring and wet and cold. But now we're here, and I think it's called Puerto Este, the east port of Utila, and enjoying a rainy morning. And Tom's gonna make some tortillas, I think it looks like it, which is a great treat. And we have to take off our wet clothes and try to get warm, and then see what, and then sleep, yeah. Sleep a little bit and then see what Utila has to offer for us. And the next day we borrowed a kayak from our neighbor, from Peter from Drum Thunder, and we rode in together. Tom checked in and we walked around the island a little bit. It was raining, it was pouring rain all the time, but we at least wanted to see a little bit of the island. And there's this really beautiful little hostel or restaurant or bar or whatever it is. It's called Titanic, and there's like, they've built it over a long time. Like it's like all this mosaic stuff with little tiles and pieces of bottles. It's really beautiful. It's like a little fairy tale wonderland. So we checked that out. It must be really great if the sun is shining, but still it was quite amazing to see it. And we wandered around town a little bit. We did a little loop, and we wandered all the way to the other side of the bay. Like, we were at the eastern side of the bay, and we went all the way to the western side of the bay, where there's a little lagoon and a little beach. But we were so soaked by that time that there's a tuk-tuk coming by, and we were really glad. We were like, hey, can we jump in? Can you take us back to town? And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So that was really great because we were really cold and wet. Sometimes it happens that I walk down the street somewhere and someone yells at me, goes like, hey, Nika! And, you know, I turn around and I'm like, well, who are these people? They obviously know me, but I don't know them. And And then turns out that they've been watching Untie the Lions, and that's where they know me from. And often it turns out that, you know, you just meet really nice people through this way. And so when I was walking to the immigration, I met this couple. Hannah and Mark, and they're a really, really nice couple, and we had a great chat. Like, we went to eat some baleadas, which is like a flour tortilla, and it's just stuffed with different stuff. Like, you can choose between egg and chicken and beef, and there's usually avocado, and there's usually like a little bit of local cheese in it and a little bit of cabbage, and it's really good, and it's quite cheap too. So we went to have some baleadas together and a couple of beers, and we just chatted, and it was just really great because they said that the videos inspired them to get going, and they did. I mean, they went crazy. They bought a boat without knowing how to sail. Then the first trip, they untied the lines and they went for a 10 days trip from Florida straight to the Rio Dulce without knowing how to sail. And it's just great to see these people out there and knowing, you know, that the videos of Untie the Lines were a little part of making them go, because that was exactly why Patrice and me created this documentary. And it gets even more beautiful when you get to meet these people in person, and then they give back the inspiration, because I see them doing, you know, even crazier stuff, or, you know, or just seeing them out there and knowing that they're doing what they're doing just inspires me back and keeps me going as well. So it's this really beautiful circle that's going on, which is amazing, and it's just really precious, and I'm really enjoying it. Well, but now today, after 2 days of a lot of rain and a lot of wake and rolliness, it's cleared up a little bit. It's only gray anymore. It's just there's no more rain, and we're gonna go to the western end of the island, between Belle Cay and Little Cay. There's a little anchorage there. It's only 5 miles from here, and it's supposed to be really nice. So just gonna go there and check it out, see what's going on there. When we had reached the western point of the island, the anchorage that we wanted to go to was actually really rolly, and there's swell against wind, so I was afraid the anchor was going to be taken up by the swell. And we tried to go into a more protected anchorage. You'd have to go through a reef pass, but somehow there is 2 more islands in reality than there was on the charts in the cruising book, and we didn't really find the entrance to that reef. We tried to go in, but it got fairly shallow, and we weren't quite sure, so we actually turned around and thought we'll just go, you know, call it a day trip and go back to our old anchorage. Utila is just a short stopover on the way to Roatan, and because Tom has a job waiting there for him, we're kind of like in a hurry. So we hope that the rain and the wind will settle down a little bit in the next day so we can leave Utila and head for Roatan. But more about that next week.